And then I'll look at Crawford's views about the just basic views about the inhabitants of this region and the Malay Peninsula. And then I'll look at Crawford's understanding of ethnology and world history and how the people of the Malay Peninsula fit into his understanding. And then finally, I'll be looking at the significance of studying Crawford's ideas about people of the Malay Peninsula. Why does it even matter? All right, so I think it's perhaps better if I use the wireless. All right. So, can you all hear me? I'll just speak like that if it's audible. All right. So, John Crawford was born on the 13th of August, 1783, in Islay, Scotland. I'll just get back to here. He was the son of Samuel Crawford and Margaret Nee Campbell. His father was a medical doctor. Crawford was educated in village school in Balmore. Later, in 1799, he studied medicine in Edinburgh. But Crawford, however, had not much interest in medicine. And it's pretty much the classical case of, I'm doing this because my parents thought it was a great idea. After completing his studies in medicine, Crawford left for Calcutta and served as an assistant surgeon in the East India Company serving under the Bengal Medical Service. He was attached to the army and spent about roughly 5 years in northwestern provinces of India. Then in 1808, he joined the medical staff in the Prince of Wales Island, which is pretty much present-day Penang. Crawford will use his time in Penang to study the people of, the Malay people and also their language. During this time, he came under the notice of Lord Minto, who was the Governor General of India at the time. And then in 1811, Lord Minto invited Crawford to join him in his expedition to Java against the Dutch. And at this moment, this was pretty much a time where Crawford became was a doctor turned colonial diplomat moment for Crawford. He became the resident of the Central Court of the Sultan of Jakarta. And after serving his time in Java, Crawford returned to Britain in 1817. And while back in Britain, he compiled the materials that he actually gathered while in Southeast Asia and published his book, his widely acclaimed book, The History of the Indian Archipelago, which was published in 1820. That wasn't the end of his career in the Far East, however. Crawford returned to Asia to lead a mission diplomatic mission to Siam and Cochin, China, which is pretty much present-day Thailand and Vietnam today. Then that was in 1821. And in 1823, Crawford became the second resident of Singapore, and which he served to 1826. His biggest, this was where Crawford made his biggest political achievement, overseeing the Treaty of Friendship and Alliance in 1824, which essentially ceded the island of Singapore from the local Malay rulers to the British. After his stint as a resident in Singapore, Crawford at the age of 85. So when you look at Crawford's, some of Crawford's book on Southeast Asia, you'll be amazed at the amount of details that he actually covered. So a good example would be the topics that Crawford underlined when he was writing about the Malay Peninsula, and this can be seen in his book. A good example would be his book, The History of the Indian Archipelago, 1820, which was published in 1820, and these are the topics that he covered. So the interesting thing is that he even underlined what did the people in the Malay Peninsula like eating, and he even described how some fruits taste like. So it's amazing. I mean, just pretty much everything under the sky was studied by John Crawford. So it's like an encyclopedia. So that's the reason why Crawford's works were highly regarded as a formal source of information by interested parties, and also merchants would be interested in the materials that were covered in Crawford's book as well, because it has like some economic information on the Malay Peninsula and on the regions that he's interested in Southeast Asia. So before I go into Crawford's ideas about the people of the Malay Peninsula, I'll go through what in Crawford's view what the Indian archipelago is. So the Indian archipelago is very much Southeast Asia, all of Southeast Asia apart from Vietnam, the northern parts like Vietnam, Burma, and Thailand. So Crawford divided the races So Crawford divided the inhabitants of the Indian archipelago into many different races, and he distinguished them according to their physical appearance. Okay, they were the brown complexion, yellow tinge, straight-haired races, and the Malayans are counted as one of them. The dark, woolly-haired Negroid, or otherwise known as by Crawford as the Oriental Negroes, because of their features resemble inhabitants of Central and Southern Africa, such as the Papuans. And those in between, we have both features such as the inhabitants of Timor. So the Malays belong to the brown complexion Malayan race. And what does Crawford mean about the Malayan race? Well, the Malayan race, in Crawford's conception, consists of races in the Indian archipelago who have Malay-like features, such as the Sumatrans, the Javanese, and obviously the Malays themselves, and the inhabitants of the Philippine Islands. All races in the Indian archipelago are at different stages of civilization. Some are more advanced than others. And all the races of the Indian archipelago, Crawford considered the Malayan to be the most civilized. And within the context of the Malayan race itself, Crawford saw the Malays and the Javanese as being the most advanced. Within the Malay Peninsula itself, Crawford divided the inhabitants into two different races. One, the Malay, and the other, the Oriental Negroes, also known as the Samar. And do bear in mind that some of the other ASEAN groups who have Malay-like features was classified to belong to the Malay or Malayan group. So Crawford consider the Malay to be the most advanced of all the races in the Malay Peninsula. And how does Crawford measure civilization advancement? Well, Crawford uses materialistic and cultural factors to measure the progress of mankind. And this is pretty much a reflection of the Scottish Enlightenment philosophy, where you use materialistic and cultural factors to measure the progress of a particular culture or race. So Crawford thought that the Malays were more civilized because they had knowledge of letters, numbers, had developed, had known how to work with the useful metals, had also learned how to cultivate plants, and had also learned how to domesticate animals. So the more cultural and technological achievement boxes that you take, the better. The Semangs, on the other hand, for example, have not achieved all of these factors, so that's the reason why they're less civilized than the Malays. And Crawford would consider the Aborigines of Australia to be one of the least civilized in the world because they can only count to 2. So you have to be very patient when you actually read colonial sources, because if any of the authors make any racial comments that reflects on your race, it's very biting, and they're very blunt about it as well. Crawford saw, like, of all the inhabitants of Southeast Asia, Crawford saw the Malays as the most staunchest Muslims. But when it comes to gambling, they turn a blind eye. And Crawford said that in Crawford's writing, he observed that the Malays would stake everything they have, sell their children, their wives, even sell their own personal liberty as well, just to stay in the game. And that's the reason why, and that's not just the Malays alone. He observed like similar characteristics amongst other inhabitants of Southeast Asia. And that's the reason why Crawford decided not to regulate gambling in Singapore through taxation rather than banning it outright, because he